That's a nice one. That's a good pen.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah. So,
so Fred, because you have twinkling eyes, don't you?
well, they say yeah, but it reflects yours now too, eh? Yeah. So indeed, way back 25, 30 years ago, I started with a friend, the Twinkling Eyes Club, and we said we want to make everybody on the planet a member. So since then I'm inviting many people that I meet to become a member. So what is the procedure? I'm asking you now, Lilu, do you want to become a member?
Yes.
Of the only non-exclusive club in the world? You say yes, okay, then I want to have your thumb, and I'm going to create a little smiley face on the thumb, which I already did before on mine. And this is a very intimate moment, as you know. Now I'm making you a member of the Twinkling Eyes Club, and we say to one another, miles of smiles.
Miles of smiles.
Or sprinkles of twinkles.
Sprinkles of twinkles.
And I'm going to ask you now something. You make more members, and that's a chain condition. So we hope that in the end, say in a few years from now, you start to make new members, that they will say, oh, I'm already a member.
Love this. This is juicy.
Good. And it's not done with this, because of course when you wash your hands, it fades away, so you have to do it again. And it's like love, you need to maintain it. That's the essential message.
So tell us about those twinkling eyes. What do they mean for you? Why twinkling eyes? What is there in the eyes? What's happening there? Did you always have those twinkling eyes?
I cannot tell you. I mean, people say that I have it, but I see it in many other people. And I only can say for myself, when people see that in me, I can feel it. It's a kind of inner joy that I experience. It's a kind of life force, and it's a kind of just being happy to be here on the planet. A unique chance to live life. For me, for some people it's a given, but for me life is a gift. And what can we do with the gift? Unwrap the gift quietly and share the gift with others. And so if that recognition is there, we can cooperate and we can enjoy life together and be grateful for having life.
And it seems like it's also coming from an inner smile. There's this smile, your beingness is smiling, your essence is manifesting its form.
Maybe. I don't know the answer.
You're so cute. You should see those eyes. They're just sparkling. I love it. Tell us about the work that you're currently doing. And well, first of all, did you always have those twinkling eyes? Did you always felt this strong sense of mission, vision?
Well, I do not know if I've always had the twinkling eyes, but yes, I think since I'm aware, I have had a joy for life. And although life has not been easy for me in many situations, but I have always been able to see there's something on the horizon that is more important than just remain in the painful and suffering moments of your life. And so if you indirectly ask me for my past, I had a difficult time when I was about to finish high school. My father asked me to join him in the business, which was not foreseen because my younger, more talented brother, business talented brother, was aimed to go into the business. But my father asked me because he had Parkinson's disease and couldn't express himself verbally and had no time to wait for my 3-year younger brother. So I stepped into the business at a young age, 19. I had to assist my father, translate him. He also, by the way, had diabetes. And so it was at 23 that I became a board member and at 26 CEO, and was running a company that did many shopping centers, hundreds of houses a year, apartment buildings, recreational parks, and also a big soccer stadium. So my father passed away in 1977, and in 1983 I finally decided to withdraw from the company because more people had an interest in my seat. And in the meantime, I saw that, there were many, many problems in the world. So I had a chance to be connected with Red Cross in Geneva. I always had a desire in me to work for Red Cross to help the underprivileged people. And when I was introduced to the Secretary General of Red Cross, Mr. Hans Heuk at the time, he said, "You're right at the right moment here, because I'm going to launch a new program. And this program aims at the reduction of child mortality and morbidity related to the dehydration that goes with diarrhea." He said, "Do you know that 5 million children each year die related to that cause?" I had no idea. And he said, "But if even something more important, there is a wonderful, simple intervention called oral rehydration salts, which is a combination of salt, sugar, and water. And if you give that to a child, which an aunt can do, brother, sister, mother, or whoever, in 90% of the cases, the child will survive." And I thought, how is it possible that this cause that causes most children death at that stage in the early part of the 80s, that there's such a simple and effective solution. Very low cost. Perhaps now it costs not even $1 per sachet to combine with water, and that we do not know about it. And so that started my thinking. How is it possible that we do not market this? And the problem is, it's so cheap, so there is hardly any markup to really make it known in the world. So I saw a deeper message too. There are simple solutions for big problems. Only are we willing to see it and invest our energy into it to make it known. So yes, I started to work there, and I learned a lot. I learned this part, so this wonderful, effective method to save children's lives. But I learned something else. As I explained, I used to run a company, and when you're a kind of CEO, you're a kind of macho person. You make the solutions, and you're gonna help people. So, and I thought, with that attitude, we went to South America, we went to Africa. And a colleague in my program, he held my hand at a moment. He said, you go too fast. You better be more modest. First, absorb the information from the other people, listen to their needs, and then when you understand their needs, you understand their culture, it's only then that you can start to share from what you think that you might want to help them with. So that was a big lesson to me that I learned, and the lesson was that if I really want to help people, I have first to help myself. I have to de-stress myself and learn to be respectful and patient with myself. And if I'm patient and respectful to myself, then I can be patient and respectful with the other people. So, in other words, only when we have both a deep understanding, not only from the mind, but also from the heart, is the moment that we can facilitate successful interventions. And
what do you mean by interventions?
Well, for example, to teach people this oral rehydration therapy. So if you come with an attitude, I'll teach you, you sit there, and this is what's going to happen, people will not listen. It's the same like people coming from the moon right now here and telling us how we should behave or how we need to change our life. We wouldn't buy it. Only if we bridge from the mind but also from the heart, it's only then that we can cross-fertilize one another. So when we go into Swaziland or Malawi or any other country, we have to be willing to learn from the people there too, because they also have knowledge, they also have lives, they have practices that can be very useful for us to know. I think the attitude that we in the West, we know so much, is a limited belief. And alas, although many great things are happening, first of all, I want to, with the oral rehydration salts, the success over the years is enormous. It's now down to 2.5 million children each year under 5 that die because of this cause. But I'm now involved the last 5 years with the fight, quote-unquote, fight against malaria. And although there are big achievements realized, so there are, I think, the plan is to have whole Africa under a bed net within the next couple of years, which of course is great. And in that respect, with the logistics and the mindset of the Western people, that can be successfully done, because malaria bed nets, they protect against the mosquitoes. But still I find a lot of people involved in this wonderful effort, although they come all from the good heart, there's still so much stress. There's a need to perform, there's a need to show numbers, there's a need to report back to the donors, okay, we achieved so much in such a short time. Although I understand that's important for getting new money in, the question is still, is it effective on the ground? Because on the ground, where the new techniques needs to be implemented, it's there where it really needs to be done with patience and respect.
And it's really true. Like, we're all so caught up, and especially in the corporate world or any type of organization, into the numbers, into production, into performance. But it's time to let go of that. You're saying there's a new model there that you're discovering and that you're sharing with people now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a model, because I don't know. It's I think an attitude. It's a change of attitude. The attitude, okay, it's fine to measure, of course, to see if a result is achieved, because that motivates people. If a certain method works, it's great, so we then can extend that method and bring it to more and more and more people. So it's one side of the coin. But in the meantime, let's not do it too fast, because everything that we create that is only a product of our mind has the risk to implode again. When a product of the mind is filtered through the heart and experienced through the heart, the chance that it will be rooted and successfully be implemented is much bigger, because it's experienced.
So that takes time. That's us to step back and just reflect upon our projects too, to see if they're coming from the heart.
Yeah.
What kind of question? How should we look at things so that we know for sure it's coming from the heart and not the mind? And
how do we know? Well, that's this tricky question. That's a good point. Well, how do you know? Or how do you feel? It's the two questions. You both brought it already up, Lidu. It's, knowing in a more wider sense is indeed you can feel it. You can feel the connection. You can feel what you're doing. I remember once, a long time ago, I had an invitation of the former president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, to be with him in the early 90s, I think 1 year after he stepped down. And I was waiting in the hotel for the cab driver to bring me to his office. And there was a group of scientists, apparently Cossack people, were sitting in the lobby, and they thought I was American. And they said, well, we have a solution to how do you call it, to neutralize the holes in the ozone layer. And it's a huge project that in our kind of, on our side, the Star Wars scientist activity, we have found a solution. And would you be willing to find the money, 32 billion I remember, to help and find that money and make that work? And then I realized that is what we are doing with humanity. We complicate things. We take away a lot of stuff from nature, make it in new creations that don't reflect nature, that don't reflect the cyclical natural laws of creation. And so we create more and more waste. And when we have created waste, it's all patchwork, the one on the other. And it's more and more and more outside all products of the mind. Mm-hmm. But then thinking on the other side of what I learned with Red Cross about a simple solution, sugar, water, salt that helps to save a life, I thought if we would change our attitude, that all the products that the mind creates and filter them through our hearts, we would find solutions that are much more close to natural solutions instead of what I would call artificial solutions.
So what is that process from going from the mind and bringing it down to the heart? Is there some questions or some space you get into, or you go in nature? I mean, what is your process of bringing that to the heart and feeling it? And
yeah, well, first we already mentioned it's patience, to be peaceful and calm, and to really, if we have brilliant ideas, it would be great if we would have the time to really ponder on the ideas and have the chance to test these ideas and in a non-competitive way, so that it has the time to mature and then with love bring it into practice. And of course this is very idealistic, I realize that, because the reality is, part of the reality is that we live in a highly competitive world where that's not possible. So we have created systems in which indeed we exclude other people, and where we create comparisons where one is the best and the other is number two, and so you have the winners and the losers. But the reality is, Lilou and Peter, you there, and all of the people that look here, look at this video, we all take part in the game, what I call, of gravity. We're all connected to the earth. So on a wonderful round ball, which is a beautiful idea, I think, of God, to show us a kind of infinite idea in the finite. So we can walk that globe on, and it is round. It's kind of the symbol for infinity. So the reality is we are in it together. So what is my assumption that we're here to do? We're here to live together. And if we take away products from nature, we have to compare, if we do that in an efficient way, respecting the law, so that what we take away from nature is going to be recycled back according to the same laws into nature. So the attitude with all things that we're doing is meant to compare with care in order to share. Now, what is the reality? The reality is that we are taught, and this is the assumption under the laws of economy, is that there is scarcity. Now, in the system where everything coexists, that is not true. There is abundance, but we are taught there is scarcity. When there's scarcity, so there's a lack of something, people start to compete because there's not enough. So instead of to include one another, we exclude. And through exclusion, we gonna fight about it. So when there are exclusive systems, we can control systems, and we can control people because they fear that they will be excluded. And through fear, indeed, you can control people.
This is not working. Yeah, and this is not working anymore. And this is why the whole system is collapsing right now, because this is not this is not how we're going to create some new models. This is not how we're going to create communion with nature, how we're going to give to nature instead of taking, and always thinking of ourselves in a selfish way. This is time for us to step up, big time.
Yes.
Big time.
Yeah, I think indeed that we have to rethink our models.
Yeah.
And it is so simple to see that the earth is round and that it is an all-inclusive system. And I may have told the other time the wonderful metaphor with the tennis game. I don't know if I... Yes. Shall we do that again?
Yes.
So, if we go deep into what the finite is, so you have infinity and you have the finite. I always say the infinite can encompass the finite and inspire it and transpire it, go through it. But the other way around is not possible. The finite cannot encompass infinity. But what is finite in essence? It consists of, they say, time and space. Time, so you live in a different space from me, and I live in a different space from you. So every particle, every atom, every expression of material, being it dense or subtle, occupies a different location. It's always on a different location. So that's one thing. The other thing, time. If time is defined by the speed of light, and light would travel with 300,000 kilometers per second, then a light photon that is emitted from a space behind you would be first at you and then with me. Although it's a minute difference, you live in a different time from me. Even there's a different time between my two nostrils, or each eon or atom or molecule of which space is built up. So again, here the same thing. The principle is coexistence and movement all the time. Deeper under time-space is the question, what is time-space? Basically, time-space consists by the grace of resistance. If there's no resistance, there's no time-space. But what is resistance? It's plus, minus, giving, receiving, the male and the female principle, thinking and feeling. Now we go to the tennis. Tennis was developed respecting and reflecting these laws. That's I play the ball to you and you to me. And we continue playing all the time, Lilou. So you play the ball towards me so that I can catch the ball, but make my stretch, and I do the same. So it reflects that continuum. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but what they have made of it is they made it in such a way that the person that breaks that cycle, that continuum, they give that person a point. You see the point? So the person that excludes and breaks the cycle, we honor that person And although I love to watch it, but that is the model for society. So those people that are successful in excluding others, they are honored in society. We put them on the pedestal. We really relocate our own power in the Madonnas, in the Pete Samprases, in the Clintons or in the Obamas of this world. And we don't keep it to ourselves. Am I a little bit clear?
You are very clear, and this is a great example. Really, really clear. And so tell us, how are you doing to create new models? What are some of the new things that you have put in place so that you can include others, so that you can create in this space of union and communion and you know, how are you putting things in place? Is Start Fund one of those?
Yeah, Start Fund is one of those.
Which is inclusive, like the Twinkling Eye Club?
I hope it is. Basically, Start Fund started out, I think now 14 years ago. In the meantime, with Start Fund, we have co-funded over 250 projects in more than 50 countries. And what's the idea? Anybody in the world can come to us with a creative, innovative plan that helps to create community, helps environment, or improves healthcare. And the size of the budget that goes with that activity cannot exceed €100,000. And if you're successful with your application, so you make it through our selection committee, you will be granted a certain percentage of your budget. The higher the budget, the lower the percentage. The lower the budget, the higher the percentage. And so if you make it, so to say, then you get 9 months the time to find the remaining funding and you can go. So the only real restriction that we have is that wherever the project is going to be, that you have to send a person to come to Holland to be your ambassador, friend or representative to present the project, because we want to feel the energy of the people that are involved. And we understand, of course, if you have a project in Lesotho, you cannot come from Lesotho, but then we ask the person from Lesotho, find a friend that is in the area of Amsterdam.
So what kind of project do you have there for now? What kind of things that you have funded that are coming into fruition? Are there some already that are coming into the pipeline?
Yeah, as I mentioned, more than 250 we have done until so far. And our very attractive project, what comes to my mind, for example, is a beautiful project, is Plakkie, they call that project in South Africa, where students had the idea to go in somewhere in Durban into an area where there's a lot of those tires that hang out by the roadside, in which you have still water, and that of course is a source for malaria. So they pick them up, they bring them to a factory, and they are processed into flip-flops. How do you call those flip-flops? So what we do, so it is one beautiful thing. It helps to prevent malaria from coming to an existence. Two, we create employment, or the employment is created through this project, and especially HIV/AIDS people work in the factory. And in Holland, they have a contract with the factory where they sell these flip-flops to, so they are sold to wholesale in the Netherlands, and are in the Netherlands. They are in the shops, and the income will go back into the community where the flip-flops are produced. So that's an amazing example.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. Who funds these projects?
Well,
how do you go about it?
So in this case, this was a high-end project, in the sense that I think it was indeed €100,000 that they needed. In that case, we provide 20%, and within the 9 months that they were given to find the remaining money, they were successful to attract other funds, also from other funders in the Netherlands that I remember.
Is there some kind of like those 20% or the amount of money to originate? Originally, is it coming from banks or companies, or how do you is it actually part of somebody within your organization that finds those funds, and you find that easy? Or some companies giving some of their time and money to these causes? We need to hear those good news, because right now we're seeing a lot of companies that are greedy, and we want to hear the good news.
So until so far, 99% it's funded through my foundation.
Okay.
And 1.5 years ago, Deepak Chopra, a friend of mine, has embraced the idea, and what he's is helping me with is finding other sponsors. So I'm indeed now on the road to find more money, because we, apart from the office in Amsterdam, we also want to open offices in New York, LA, in Delhi, and other places in the world, so that not everybody in the end needs to travel to Holland. But until so far, we are not yet too successful. I have some promising contacts, so I hope that we are going to have a breakthrough.
Right now.
Yes. So if anybody is interested to join me in co-funding, I would be more than grateful if you can contact me through what's the email address of? Okay, yeah, you did put it in the description. Good. Yeah.
This is this kind of project that needs support right now. This is amazing. This can transform the world.
Oh, definitely. And although this until so far is a giving model, we also are working on a kind of start fund 2 model, which is more close to microfinance, so that we put money in and we hope the money comes back so that we can use it again.
This is amazing, Fred. I'm very, very excited to share this kind of information with people, and the internet is allowing this.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. What a blessing to have the internet right now, because I feel the big media should start to take hold of stories like yours, and share this and get celebrity support and get this really rolling. And it's not right now. They're still trapped into the negative news. So I really have big hopes for the internet.
Yeah.
And as you said, and I love your book, Rediscovering Your Heart.
Yeah, Rediscover Your Heart, right.
And this is really the essence of your message. Can you share with us why you wrote that book?
Well, indeed, a friend of mine, Carolyn Mace, 10 years ago or so, she said, you should write your story down, because it's always nice to read a story. Read a story how, from a businessman, you became what you're now. And so that was the reason why I wrote it. And the main message, basically, that I have is that it's very important to do everything, what you think or do, that you filter that through your heart. And what if I see more in a model, what we see around us is a huge, say, a chaotic situation on the planet. The reason of it is, I think, that we have put all the male qualities on a pedestal, which is the mental and the physical power. And there's in itself nothing wrong with the mental and the physical power, but its dysfunctional part is dominating. So in the physical, I mean in the military, in the nuclear energy. In the mental, I mean too much stress on performance of the mental faculty. So what we need is to look as well at the female quality of intuition and the power of vulnerability, the power of the heart. And we both, men and women, we have that power. So my message would be that we as men and women sit together with an attitude of forgiveness towards the past, so that we can travel with light rucksacks, and that we, in the attitude of forgiveness, that we work together, and that the women help us men to open our hearts and to be vulnerable, not to be caught up in I need to be right, I need to win as a man, but just allow myself also to have the vulnerable power, and that we, the power of vulnerability, and that we as men help the women not to go into the male model of super efficiency, being dominant over others, but respecting your power of vulnerability, because there is no life possible without the power of vulnerability. Look at the flower, look at the young child. Look, if the flower is not respected, if the young life is not respected, if we don't guard it, if we don't protect it, there is no future. So the rebalancing of the male and the female power in a functional way, I think that would be my message, to ask everybody to cooperate from a forgiving heart.
And it's so inspiring for a woman to see a man of the heart like you, because you're inspiring us to be vulnerable too, and just, you're very inspiring. I think it's even going to come from men like you, men of the heart, that are vulnerable and open and just sharing yourself. This is very empowering to a woman that's always been working on from strengths, levels to and competition. So it's
right. Yeah.
It's coming from all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, this is all nice talk, but we talk about the good side, but real. Yeah, but also I make many mistakes. I make every day thousands of mistakes. And the people we donate money to, they make many mistakes too. But it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. Let's be more gentle to people and ourselves. That's okay to make a mistake and not hit a person and yourself when you make a mistake. Be kind a little bit more. And I talking to myself now because I need it too.
Well, thank you for this moment, Fred. Thank you so much. And I wish you an amazing trip here in this Bay Area. Fantastic, creative people here. Very bubbly area. I love it.
It is. It is. Okay.
Exciting. Well, thank you.
Miles of smiles.
Twinkles of...
Sprinkles of twinkle. Yippee.
Bye-bye, my beautiful co-creators. Much love from San Jose.